give a warm welcome to Phil.
Yay!
Okay, I moved into this neighborhood about, I believe 1951. 8th grade, that would put me, what, 13 years old, thereabouts, okay. Mayfield Street wasn't even there. It was just grass field. I think Bainton was the first one. Lyon Street from Plymouth all the way to Fuller, and it did go all the way to Fuller at one time, was just a 2-lane road, no curbs, no sewers, no nothing. There, when you hit Mayfield and you go west, 4 or 5 houses, they were all there, was an old city dump.
Really?
That was, and the dump was Hillcrest School. To the west of that, to the bank where it goes down to Fuller Park. If you walk that bank, you can still see the dump.
Oh, really?
And then it took the ball field, all that area, and then as you went towards Michigan, you looked down and you saw Michigan Street. Okay. Across from that, of course, was the field. I think they're community gardens now. Are they still there?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the field. At one time, that was a softball field. When we moved here, there's still evidence. They had the posts, the 3 posts, like telephone wire posts, up about 25 foot, and some rusty chicken wire, which was the backstop. And there was evidence yet of all the bases. You know, they use that ballpark sand, and nothing grows there, so that was all there yet. And we had a neighbor who would mow it in the spring, and then we would have neighborhood ball games, a workup there. As you went further south, there's more field, and then the hill. At the bottom of the hill was a swamp. There was always water in it because that hill has springs in it, and there's always water flowing down. And it would be, at that time, probably knee deep up to me, so probably up to here, foot deep. And then you went into the back of Fulton Heights Foods. Fulton Heights Foods fronted the sidewalk. And the parking lot was on the west. On the east was a small parking lot and a small diner. Let's see, as you went to the west, the parking lot, and then I think a standard gas station. I think it's just a vacant lot now, isn't it there? If I remember right? Okay. On the other side of Arthur was Klein's Drugstore, then a bakery owned by 2, we call them old ladies, because when I moved into the neighborhood, we thought they lived kitty corner across the street from me. I lived on Lowell Avenue, and they already looked old to me. So, and they were old ladies ever since.
You don't get younger.
No. Then next to that was a hardware store, and then a beer stop. We call it the beer store, or a late stop. And the hardware store, back at Klein's, was kind of an alleyway where you went to the back of the hardware store and the back of the bakery. And in the back of the hardware store was a bicycle shop where you could get your bike repaired or buy parts, which I always repaired my own bike, so I would buy parts there. And then another gas station. And I remember that gas station, I think it was Citgo that had, not Citgo, Sinclair, that had the horse with the wings. Mobile, that was Mobile. Okay, that was the one that was there. Okay. Across the street, if you start at the Holland Home, which was just the old building yet, to the east of that was nothing. And my paper route started on the corner of Fulton and Plymouth here. And there was just woods. There's no, well, there was college there, but it was all these old, the old original buildings. That's all was there. Then you had Booth Dairy, which was a ice cream soda shop type thing, big round counter, and I think they served coffee and donuts. And I can remember the day that they went from a nickel to 10 cents a cup. And the ruckus around the neighborhood at that time.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no, 10 cents for a cup of coffee, how terrible, you know. Then next to that was another gas station. So there were 3 gas stations in this neighborhood at one time. Then across the street, of course, then was the lithograph company that printed canned goods, labels for canned goods, their fruits and vegetables type thing. And then next to there, I think that garage is already there. I don't even know the name of it anymore. Yes, that was there, yeah, that was there already. And then as you went further west again, you know, where the Evangeline home was, that was one of these old institutional type buildings. And I can remember I went to Baldwin Christian School and I had to walk past that, and these young ladies would be out there and they would always tease us as we went by. I think we had more fun than they did, so being teased by these girls, you know. That's about it. The Holland home across the street, the house, that building was called the Brown home. And it was a home for aged ladies. Old apple orchard, the whole neighborhood was an apple orchard. I have the original abstract that goes back to the mid-1800s. And these apples, of course, would rot on the tree and fall. Well, one of the favorite things we did was in dark is to take these rotten apples and, of course, throw them at the passing cars. And if somebody would stop, then we knew our way through the swamp in the dark. And of course, we would run right through that swamp, get to the other side, and start giggling and laughing and taunting the driver. And before the driver knew what he was doing, he thought he had us, he'd be knee-deep in mud. And that was all the more fun that we had. Let's see, the hardware store, the beer store, across from the Brown home, lithograph company, the big, that burnt down. The lithograph company had a huge fire in it. They finally tore the whole building down. That's what happened to it. I don't know the year because I was already gone and married by that time.
How
yeah,
about the
Evangeline.
gun, shooting with the gun?
Oh, well, yeah, because there was nothing here. I had a 16 gauge single shot shotgun. No case for it. Of course, I had no car. I was only 14 years old. Handlebars, gun strung across it. Bicycle down to the railroad tracks where corduroy rubber was. And then me and a buddy would hunt, walking this way, probably for a mile, mile and a half, because there was high banks. And one of us would walk down below, and the other person would walk on top. And we would walk probably for a mile, maybe 2 miles, and then we would reverse, come back the other way to our bicycles, and then right back.
Did you ever catch
So
anything?
what were you?
Oh yeah, we shot pheasants and rabbits.
Okay.
There were pheasants
There's
actually
deer
here at
in
one
there.
time.
There's deer in there too.
Oh, I believe that, yeah. But yeah, we would see deer. We had a deer stuck on a front porch in the neighborhood one time. Yeah, it was on Lowell Avenue, it was up on the front porch, and they didn't know how to get rid of it,
Yeah.
you know? One of the things, I don't know why, because we didn't dislike each other, we were friends, but Arthur and Lowell had this thing going with BB guns. And we would have BB gun fights out in the field. And it was a good rivalry. You know, you got all done, or somebody got called into supper. It was done. Hi, how are you? Goodbye. Where'd I get you? Oh, you got me in the leg. This kind of thing. But that was it. And yet, we were just friends. But when it come time to have a BB gun fight, we fought. That was about it. I don't have a whole lot more. And if there's anything,
You have 1 more minute.
all right.
Any quick questions for Phil?
Yeah, you got anything?
Nobody shot an eye out?
No, nobody shot. Well, see, we were boys, and there are certain places that we like to hit. So, luckily, we all have children, so nothing got done. So, that's that, yes.
What's your last name?
Willem Stein.
Oh, yeah.
I lived at 143 Lowell.
Next to Phillies.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Dan and, I can't think of, David, yes, David was, forest ranger, ended up being,
JC was your brother?
CJ.
CJ,
Yeah, he's my only brother that's alive anymore,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm Skip Cooley, I live on Main Street.
Oh, did you?
Everything you said, I remember plain as day.
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of fun in that dump. One of the things that we did across the street from me and a couple doors down were some kids. They were a little bit older than I did, so they would buy a car, but they weren't old enough to drive yet, 14, 15 years old. And they would tear the body off, and it'd be nothing but the seats. And that would be our race car through the dump. And we would, and of course, I never drove it, but those kids would drive it, and they would race as fast as they could around this dump and on 2-track roads. And that's one other thing that we used to do.
You had a quick question? Somebody back there, right? No, for Phil?
I just was glad that Skip wasn't on Arthur and you were on the
So let's give Phil a hand.
All right, thank you.